Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the closet.
And we're bickering.
We're already having some animated discussions.
Animated discussions, that's what you call it?
Yes.
I almost walked out of the closet just a minute ago.
She gets heated. Sometimes I get under her skin because I like to play the devil's advocate.
Well, you know how to push
And
my
sometimes
button.
I just disagree with you.
That's fine. You can disagree with me.
I know.
I don't care, but it's this smirk you put on your face that really gets under my skin.
I feel it too. I know. But I can't help it because you're so cute.
Oh,
when I see
yes.
that irritation crawl to the top of your skin molecules,
You love it.
your atoms, they get all fired up.
My atoms.
Yeah, all your atoms, they're all over your body.
Okay.
But we're talking about stuff. We've been talking about sex, guilt.
And not even what you're thinking either. I read him something that I saw
She did.
on Snapchat today that one of our daughter's friends, and she's really close to our family, teenager, she put on her Snapchat, and she said screenshot it and repost it. Well, I didn't repost it, but I did screenshot it because I thought it was something worth talking about, because it's something that Jeff and I, well, Jeff doesn't have to deal with it as much, but I have to deal with it with the girls a lot. Our teenage girls, and the way they dress and the way they dress for school. Now, there are dress codes, yes, in some of the schools. Actually, I don't think some of the high schools don't really have a dress.
From what I see, it doesn't seem like they have dress codes.
So then you're worse than the little boys.
No, I'm not. I'm just like, my gosh, girls, you can't dress like this.
What? Like what? What did they have on that was so disturbing?
You haven't seen our daughters around the house, like when they go out there with their butts hanging out?
Around the house, yes, but they don't go to school like that. I see. Dude, you're in bed every morning when they go to school. No. You don't know what they wear to school. I do. They wear some holes in their jeans. Here's the thing. They wear holes in their jeans, okay? They can't have holes above the knees. Listen.
I noticed that.
Okay, so it's holes.
I don't care about holes.
Okay? They can't have a little bit of their belly showing. They can't have a bra strap showing. Now, I know there's a line. You don't want butts hanging out, and you don't want a bunch of cleavage hanging out. Yes, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they take it a little too far, and I think that they put too much emphasis on it. It's just like anything else with kids. If you put so much emphasis on it and be so strict with it, they're gonna do it more. Well, what I read on Snapchat today, it's a statement. It says, when you interrupt a girl's school day and you force her to change clothes or send her home because her shorts are too short or her bra straps are visible, you are telling her that making sure the boys have a distraction-free learning environment is more important than her education. Instead of shaming girls for their bodies, teach boys that girls are not sexual. Where I agree with this, I do, and there's a boundary. But I almost 100% agree with all of that, because the girls are getting punished for wearing, and like I said, yes, some of it is trashy and they should absolutely be sent home. I'm not saying these girls should walk half naked in school. That's not what I'm saying. But my kid, I've gotten a call about our kid because a little bit of her belly was showing. Now, I saw the shirt she wore to school that day, and the only way her belly would have showed if she would have raised her hand.
Yeah.
It was a T-shirt. It covered her top. It covered her arms. So, I'm sorry. I didn't take... They told me to bring her clothes. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I can't leave work because a little bit of my daughters...
She left the house. She was acceptable to you.
That's what I'm saying. I see what they leave. Now, they could sneak around me sometimes, but I don't think they do. They don't even wear shorts to school, A. B, the worst thing they wear to school are holey jeans, and sometimes a tiny bit of their belly showing, and sometimes something will be off their shoulder, and oh my gosh, their bra strap showing. We need to teach these boys that no matter what they see in girls, to respect them, that they're not sexual objects. I don't care. I don't care what the dress code is.
Get worked up.
Well, I'm just saying, everything's like all the responsibility on the girls. Boys are going to be horny little boys.
No doubt,
horny high school boys. It doesn't matter.
And you know what makes it worse?
No, listen. It doesn't matter if they're covered from head to toe.
Oh, you're right.
In wool.
No doubt.
They're going to be imagining what's under there.
Absolutely.
So, geez, just chill. Schools, just chill.
You want me to get some ice?
Jeez. I mean, I'm just so frustrated because the boys don't have a dress code. Do they? I mean, maybe they do. Somebody
I
correct me
don't
if I'm
think
wrong.
they do. I mean, I think if they came with no pants on, then that would be
No
a
girl
problem.
goes into school with no pants on.
Right, but I'm saying it'd take
Oh my
that kind of
gosh.
extreme.
Let me tell you something, though. That just reminded me. Maddie sent me a snap the other day. Did she send this to you?
No, they don't think
Oh,
about
this
me.
is good. Now, this is disgusting. I would not want to be a teacher. She sent me a snap, and she said, one of the kids said, Mr. So-and-so, someone lost their tampon on the floor. There was a bloody tampon on the floor. And the teacher said in the snap, he goes, well, somebody go get me some gloves. And some girl lost her tampon in the middle of class. Now tell me how that happens. You might not know, but I know for a fact that can't happen unless you don't have underwear on and you have like a skirt on or shorts with no underwear.
Now, if you're wearing a tampon, you're going to have, even if you're not a normal panty girl every day, aren't you going to wear something over that thing because you're in your bloody month time?
Yeah, especially if you have a skirt or shorts on, because that's
what I'm saying.
It can happen that you
can slip out.
It can.
Whoa.
But it can.
Whoa.
It can if it's not attended to regularly like it should be. But if you have on underwear, it's going to stop it, right?
Come on, girls.
Oh my gosh, this poor girl. Like, I don't know the end of the story. I need to ask Maddie what actually happened
She
to that.
snapped the picture of it to you?
No. She snapped what was the scene, what was going on.
Oh, I got you.
Anyway, I'm sorry, that was way off track. But these poor teacher, I felt a little bit bad.
Oh.
Yeah, gross, right? So
nasty.
But all I'm saying is I'm not going to go on and on about it. I know,
but it's a natural thing.
I
so
know
it's
there's a dress code, and I know that the kids should respect it. But I think that they put too much emphasis on it. Call out girls that are really off the charts, leave everyone else alone, and go spend your time and your energy picking on bigger problems like doing drugs in the bathroom or right in the QSA. I've heard they do drugs right in the QSA. So can we please go get
I've
those
heard
kids
some bad
and
stories
send
about
those
these
kids
GW
home
kids.
and leave my kid with a little bit of her belly showing? Don't call me about that. I don't have time for your crap. Don't call me about that.
That's right, girl. You go,
okay,
girl.
Sorry, we can go on.
You go, girl.
But we were talking about sex and guilt.
We were, and you know what? You know what's making it worse on the girls and the boys? And that's what I've heard a lot about. It's like we come up in this culture where everything is sexualized.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everything you watch on TV, the commercials, they make women sex objects.
Yes.
They do. They have them eating burgers and bikinis off of trucks with stuff running down their face, like, and they're licking their fingers.
I do believe you've paused to that commercial a few times.
That's because when you get up and go to the restroom or go get something to drink, I don't want you to miss anything.
Oh yeah.
But my point is it's okay to market to that, but then when a dude looks at a girl or acts a certain way, I'm not saying aggressive or says anything like, but I mean it's like such a weird conflict of, you know what I mean? It's whack that you can market to that, and everybody. It's okay for all these companies and everybody to market to it, but then in the same company, they got to avoid any talk of sexuality,
right?
Or talking about anything sexual. And there's all these HR things, but it doesn't apply to the freaking ads.
It's because sex sells.
I know it does. I buy sex.
You do?
Not like that. Not actual sex, but
Oh.
I buy things where they're like, "Yo, Jeff, you'll look so much sexier if you wear this bow tie instead of that bow tie."
No. You're with the wrong company, man. Unless that's the only thing you've got on. Then maybe, but bow ties in general with a suit, neat.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a bow tie guy.
No, I agree with what you're saying. But it's also, I mean, there's guilt, but it's also, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, it's, what is the word I'm looking for?
There's a lot of words.
They make it look like something that it's really not to these young people. Like TV
yeah.
in general, movies, TV shows, even porn really makes it, because these kids are watching it. I mean,
well, that's where I was going to go with the whole thing. Is the whole boys are brought up, they're not brought up on it. Girls are brought up on like watching Disney movies.
Oh,
right?
princesses.
They're princesses. They see
Yeah.
the world like
Every girl's
you're
want-
a princess. There's going to be a man that sweeps you off your feet. He's going to take care of you.
Right.
He's never going to want anything from you. There's
Right.
not going to be any hint of like sexual tension. There's not going to be any, it's just going to be this wonderful man with he's your world, and he's just there to serve, and
Exactly.
he's handsome, and he's beautiful, and he's there to whisk you off your feet, and he's going to throw his whole life away. He's going to leave the world behind for you. And then on the other hand, you got these boys who come up, and they are introduced to Pornhub and YouPorn, and they're watching girls get
Right.
sexually used and abused in different ways, which looks to them, it's like, oh, that's how girls want to be done.
Right.
That's how things work when you're an adult. Like, you get to, just get a couple of your friends together and,
Yes.
whatever, your girl and she's going to be totally, and just all these things. You're thinking about all the different fetishes and categories they have on those porn sites. But before you do a podcast like this, you've got to research. But there's all kinds of different.
Oh,
different
you can
things.
name. You're acting like you don't know the categories. I can name 10 right now, and you can too. So don't even go there. You can't fool us, Runyon. Research before the podcast before you talk about porn categories. We are not stupid people. You are insulting us right
It's
now.
so accessible now. These young boys get to watch it. So you have this clash where boys think that's what it's going to be like.
They think women are porn stars.
They think women are porn stars.
And some of
They're
us are. I
personal
mean, some
porn
people are. Just kidding.
But you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like they think she's down for just whatever.
Right.
And she's thinking he's going to be this genuine, loving guy that never wants anything like that.
Right.
And there's a perfect balance in between there, because I think
There is.
when you're in love, there is both of those things, but they're represented incorrectly, I think.
Well, they are, and I think it comes later too in life. I think that when you're, because we're talking specifically right now, we're specifically talking about teenagers and how they perceive things.
Princesses and porn.
Princesses and porn. They perceive things just like you said. And when it doesn't happen, when that boyfriend doesn't treat her like a princess and he chooses to go to, somewhere with his friends, or he chooses a sport over her, she's like, wait, what are you talking about? That's not how they treated Snow White.
That's right, man.
You know what I mean? Or that's not how they treated any of these princesses. And then the same time,
Is that the
if
Snow
they're-
White porn, or what are we talking
No,
about? The porn or the actual Snow White
the
movie?
actual movie.
Okay, I just want to
And
make sure I'm
then-
thinking about the right thing.
And then the girl, now you got me off track. And then when they're in an intimate moment, which we can't be naive and think that our teenagers are not in intimate moments.
We can.
I know
but-
you
right.
hate to think that, but I'm
Right.
realistic. So when they're in a moment and something sexual might be happening,
La,
and the
la,
guy,
la, 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 la,
do you
la.
want to leave the room for a minute and I'll talk to these people?
No, just talk.
Okay. And the guy is thinking she's going to be all, ready to go and in these
Like hanging from the
situations.
ceiling and
No, not even like that.
standing on your head.
No,
and
not even
doing-
like that, but just like anything that he wants to do. And young girls aren't ready for that vivid of a moment. That usually comes a little bit later in a relationship when you've grown together and come to know each other. Just like the man might turn more into a prince as your relationship grows. He'll start putting you first more. He'll start going out of his way for you more. But right in a young relationship, that stuff just doesn't happen.
And truth be known, the guy isn't ready for that sexual activity either. He thinks he is, but you wait till the girl's
Yeah.
okay, let's do this.
Well,
He's going to be
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
I just
but
thought
a
I was going
girl-
to have to talk you into it.
A girl's typically not going to do that because, just like you said, we were taught, or at least I was, that it was wrong. Like you don't have sex until you're married, and even then, it's just missionary style.
Yeah, you don't talk about it.
You know what I mean? And it was shame. You were shamed,
Right.
and I don't do that with my kids. As you know, in a few podcasts ago, I'm very open with my kids
Sure.
about it, because
Well,
I'm not stupid.
When I don't want my kids to be confused. It's confusing. When you're brought up like that, it's confusing. Because
Absolutely.
when I was a teenage boy, I felt horrible about myself every time I stroked it, every time I beat off.
Oh boy.
And you do that. You have to. You'll explode as a child, as a boy, a teenage boy. I mean, you were going through some serious, you got some hormones kicking. You got that testosterone pumping. You're developing. It's chemistry. It's biology. It's what happens. Our kids are going to grow, and they're going to go through phases, and they're going to go through those phases where they're going to want to experiment, and they're going to have these urges, and they're going to have things. And I don't want them to think that they're wrong because they have those urges, because that's how I felt a lot of times.
No, me too.
I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not a good Christian, or they're a better Christian because they say they don't have any problem with it, and I do. I struggle with it. And the problem would be if I didn't struggle with it, is what I understand now, looking back. Any teenage boy that doesn't struggle with it,
yes,
either has been brought up to where it's okay to feel that way. That's natural. But you know, the religious world, it was always fearful. If they let you think anything that seemed sinful,
right,
was okay, then you were going to hell. So
well, and that's what I thought. I mean, I was always taught you don't have sex until you're married. You only have sex with the guy that you marry.
Which made it so hot.
And I believed that, and up until you know what I mean, I met you, and then we didn't wait till we were married.
Right.
Or you'll go to hell. That's what I was taught. But like with my kid, like Maddie, she told me, and she has a very level head about this. She's told me flat out, Mom, I'm not gonna marry a guy without sleeping with him, because what if I love him and like we get along and we like all the same things and everything, and then we wait till we get married and we do that and it's terrible and I'm not attracted to him in that way. Which I think is very smart. I know you don't want to hear this, Runyon, but I think it's very smart of her. Now, I don't want her to hoe around or anything like that, but I'm saying if she's serious about a guy.
She's in a good long-term, like, stable relationship with somebody she loves, and it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I mean, and I'm not going to sit here and tell her, don't do that, or no, you can't do that. You know, she's even told me that if she was interested enough in somebody, she would rather live with them for a while first before she marries him to make sure that they're going to actually get along. Right. She's very responsible. My mom would have said different, and she would, and she'd die right now if she knew I said that. But like,
right.
I can kind of feel her on that one. Again, don't want you to just go and be like, oh, I've been with you 2 weeks, might as well get this out of the way and see if I like, you know, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, if it's a serious relationship, you're not going to not do that. I'm sure there's some people who have out there waited till they got married and it's worked just fine.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there's some people that's waited till they got married and they did it and they're like, holy crap, I got to deal with this the rest of my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you got to be physically compatible.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The thing is, you're going to be, if you don't do nothing until you're married, you're going to be so freaking horny, it won't matter.
Oh, I think it would matter.
Then it's going to wear off.
Yeah, I think if it...
Well, I guess you're going to marry that dude and you'd be like, you got a micro penis?
Do not Google that, by the way.
You should have disclosed that before we got married.
Runyon, again, it's every night with you.
That's because you can't mute alarms.
Then turn them off.
If I turn them off, they won't be back on.
Well, leave your phone out in the bathroom. I mean, heaven forbid you be without your phone. Anyway, we were talking about micro penis. First time I heard that, I didn't think it was true, and then I Googled it. Don't do that. Don't do it.
So sad.
It's gross. It's
sad. I feel bad.
No, so gross. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, we were talking about the guilt, and I don't know. I think that it's just a scary subject for a lot of people, especially adults.
Well, especially parents of.
Well, adults with kids, yeah.
Especially parents who have, teenagers, and to me, I feel like it's maybe even worse when you have teenage girls. It's scary.
It's very freaking scary.
Yeah.
I put a what are those kits? What are those? The morning after kits?
What?
Or the morning after pill
There's
kits?
A pill, yeah.
What's it called?
Well, I don't know what it's called. The morning after pill?
Yeah, it's got a clever name to it or whatever. I took one of our friends to buy one morning. Remember that?
You took one of her friends?
One of our friends.
Oh, one of our friends, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
They're expensive, but I feel like putting one in their backpack just so they're always prepared, like if something goes wrong.
Oh, yeah. Well.
So they can just be like, all right, I got this.
Yeah.
Makes me nervous.
It makes me nervous too.
I hope that they don't need it. I hope that they don't need protection. I hope that they're just good girls that.
Yeah, you hope. They're not. They're not. I can just tell you right now, they're not. You're the one that said you see how they dress.
Oh, God.
I know, right? I was in Target tonight.
They're sweet girls. I love them.
They are sweet girls. But I was in Target tonight, and I had 2 of them with me, and they were shopping for shirts. And as we already have discussed before, I don't like to shop, period. And it's even more stressful, even though I took my oil before I went. For some reason,
Right.
I was feeling a type of way today. And so I was just like, you all do your thing. I'm going to go looking around Target. And I found myself strolling down the toy aisle and getting all sentimental and like a little bit choked up. I went down the toy aisle where the little girl toys.
Mhm.
And
I don't know.
I got really sad. I got really, really sad.
Really?
Yes.
Strange.
Because I'm never in the toy section anymore.
It made you think about when they were little?
Yes, it made me think about when they were little, and like every time we would go in Target, they would, please, 5 minutes in the toys. 5 minutes, please, just 5 minutes.
Days are over.
I know, and it makes me
So you have
sad.
grandkids,
And
which
then I found
turns back around to the sex thing.
I know. And then I found myself in the baby aisle where the car seats were, and I just was standing there. I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me.
And you got hit on.
And I got hit
Which is proof that I was correct in our discussion with Maddie in the podcast. Target is the place to go to meet people.
I think you're right, because he had not one thing in his cart. He wasn't even clever enough to put some stuff in his cart. He was pushing around an empty cart. And he was everywhere I ended up being. Or maybe I was everywhere he ended up being, but whatever.
That's what happens when you look like that and you're wearing yoga pants and like that's what happens.
I had on yoga pants and flip-flops. That's really attractive. And
I
I at least,
guarantee you ask him what was on your feet, he wouldn't know.
well, probably not, but he swore he knew me from somewhere.
I know. That's the way to go. You always swear you know him.
He swore he knew me from somewhere.
I know you from where do I know you from?
That's what he said, exactly. And we came to the conclusion that he didn't, in fact, know me. And
Right,
he said,
right. And you didn't go, oh, maybe. Where do you want to go to talk about it?
Oh, no. I was just like, whatever. He was like, oh, you just must have one of those pretty faces. And I was like, okay.
Ooh, I got a story.
Tell me.
All right, and it goes with this too. It was I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was pretty intense. Actually, was it intense? Yeah, but it was a writer. He's talking about writing, and he's talking about like something that happened to him and he shared, and it was embarrassing. It was a hard moment in his life, and this lady came up to him, and she told him that he had inspired her to talk more about what happened to her as a child. And what had happened to her as a child, get this, she's a child, and we're talking about in like Girl Scouts, right? So she's young, probably a preteen.
Yes, probably.
Well, maybe even a little younger. Well, somehow she ends up with a heating pad.
Okay.
And she gets on top of it,
Okay.
and she ends up masturbating, and she feels this amazing feeling she's never felt in her life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So she starts doing that regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Very regularly. Well, her mom comes home and catches her.
Okay.
And she said her mother ripped the cord out of the wall and started beating her with the cord, calling her a filthy whore.
Oh my
A
gosh.
little filthy whore slut.
You've got to be kidding me.
And this lady was in her 50s, and she said, since that day, I have not had one orgasm.
Oh, that's awful.
Because I can't even think about sex or
See,
anything that has to do with it.
That's terrible.
Without feeling like the worst person or the worst type of person on the planet. Like that was like the effect you can have on your children. That's why when I talk about like people have natural urges, she was doing nothing like intentionally to be devious or like whorish. You know what I mean? Like she was a child discovering something that everybody discovers because we're this organism that evolves like from the time we're born into something, and you go through developmental stages, and daggone it, reproduction's a part of it. And for some reason, It feels really good when we reproduce. And that's why we
Yes.
reproduce, because it feels good and we want to do it. So you
Right.
learn to please those things. And it just sucks that happens so often. And I think it happens in more than just that way. I think it happens in subtle ways, like you were saying, like you're guilted. I mean, we went to a very religious college where it was, you're not sexual. People were. What you're taught to do is to be fake and to lie and to act like you're something you're not.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody does. I'm sure there's a percentage that they go through there and they never waver and they never have issues, and I know what they look like and I know why. I'm just kidding.
Jeffrey.
I'm kidding.
No, and
but
that's
then
fine
they
for
get
them.
they get older, and they go, gosh, how stupid.
Yes.
Your eyes open up when you get older about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. I think a lot of people follow that path and they do the same thing to their child because they think that's how you protect them, I guess, or that's how you. But it's fear to me. It's fear of, and to me, it's even crazier if you actually have complete faith in a God that's in control. Then why are you so scared of what He created? If that's what He created, is these sexual urges and these things, why are you so scared of your child having these feelings and you being there to talk about it with them and say, yeah, it's totally normal. You did what with him? You know what? With what we believe, you're not really supposed to do that till you're married, so it's not a good thing. But to shame them and to make them, but I'm just preaching now.
No, I mean, I know what you mean. I totally agree with you. And I think that you said that everybody goes through stages with it, and I totally agree. I totally agree with that. You know, you'll go through stages as a teenager, and it's all very interesting, and it's all you want to do, and you want to do it a lot. And even the girls are like into it, and they're exploring, and everything's new and fun. And then, you know, you get married, and it's all still kind of good and fun for a little bit, and then you
start having babies and stuff.
You hit a time, but even if you don't have, well, I don't know, because I've never not had babies in my 20s, because I had my first baby when I was 24, but shortly after that I just kind of like shut down with it. I went through a phase where I really could do without and be totally fine.
Thanks.
For a long time. No. And you know it caused problems. And it does cause problems.
Yeah, it does cause problems.
In relationships, because, you know, you were like, well, where are you getting it from? Or you were like, well, it must be me, or not attracted to me. And it genuinely 100% wasn't any of that. It was just that time in my life, hormonally, I didn't.
Dang on, birth control didn't help either.
Well, and that's true. Birth control. Well, yeah, because it's hormones. So there was a big time. But then, so that's
like 34.
So that's one stage. And then, yeah, you hit 34, 35.
Dang, slow down.
And then you go
She's a
through
freak, man.
you go through quite another stage.
It keeps going.
So it's just kind of like this circle that you said. It just comes and goes. And I mean, I'm sure I'll hit another stage later in life. I don't know. But even through all those stages, there's some sort of guilt involved. Even in the back of your head, even though we're married and we have kids and we're together, sometimes in the back of your head, you still have that like little twinge of like, you know, if you're doing something a little crazier than normal.
Yeah, a little taboo.
You know what I'm saying? Or like a little.
Yeah,
I
know what you're saying.
we're
never,
we're grossing some people out
You should
right now.
never feel guilty about that, baby. We should do it again.
But you know what I'm saying. You feel like a weird about it, and that's because of how we were brought up. So that's why I try and you try, and I think we do a pretty good job about being open but setting boundaries with our kids. I mean, we're open with them, but there are lots of boundaries involved with that openness as well.
Oh my gosh!
And I hope that they appreciate that, and I hope that they come to us and feel comfortable, you know, talking with us about it. Now, let me tell you, when Nate becomes, it's all you. I've got these 3 girls that I deal with it. That's all you, man, because I will be grossed out. Like, I'm done.
All right, I got it.
All right. He's only 10. I'm sure it's soon.
It's not going to be long, I promise. And I just want to get these girls, like, I just want to get them, like, safely on their way. Not quickly. I love having them here.
You want to get them to 18.
I want to get them beyond 18 and not be pregnant.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, me too. But I'm just saying. Maddie's almost 18.
She is almost 18. God bless her.
October. Whew.
Yeah, it's
How'd
crazy.
we get this old?
We're so old.
Well, I mean, we're really not.
Not really.
But we've got, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, when I was in my teens and 20s, I thought that our age that we are now was old.
I know.
So I guess maybe we are. We're just in denial.
Oh, I don't know. I think we do pretty good. At least that's what I'm going to believe.
All right, you tell yourself whatever. I'm so glad we didn't end up fighting while we were podcasting.
I know, me too.
I feel much better. I feel like I needed to get that beginning part out.
I'm glad you did. I
Thanks.
am. I didn't want to fight with you tonight.
Since when?
I mean, I didn't want to get into a real fight
I'm
with
sure
you.
I'm sure people don't think we never fight.
We fight.
Let me tell you.
I mean, it's not all the time. It's rare, but it's we can pick at each other pretty good.
Well, we fight. I mean, to have an all-out fight where we really don't talk and we are really fighting is rare, but we bicker.
Maybe once or twice a year we have
Yeah,
those like
maybe.
real big blow-ups where it gets just crazy.
Yeah, where I feel like I'm a different person, like crazy, and I feel like you're a different person, like that kind of fight.
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
bicker, but then we talk it out and we like move on. Like neither of us really hold grudges.
No, that's one beautiful thing that we do not hold grudges.
Maybe that's another podcast where we.
I think we should
mean,
have
like,
another podcast about like
I think so, too.
marriage or about relationships.
Not
about,
that we're professionals.
No. Just to discuss.
But we were.
just to discuss
We've
about.
been through stuff.
Look, here's what we're doing. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody. But for some reason, it's working for us. And I'll ride it. I'll ride it out for the next.
When's our contract renewal?
What year is it?
Every 10 years, I thought.
I think when we hit the 20-year, you signed for life.
Well, we just hit that, so.
Sorry. You didn't read the fine print,
I
did you?
not. No, just
You're
kidding.
in. You're good.
All right, we'll come back and talk about that another night.
Absolutely.
All right, but for now,
Everybody have a wonderful evening.
and try to have some sex tonight.
Yeah, get it on. Get it on!
And don't feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Bye.